Hello historians, and welcome back! Today we'll be tackling the snowy peaks of Morogh, a welcome change to the dreary forests of the Night Elves. We can finally start diving into some lore about the dwarves and gnomes. Let's begin! We start in Cold Ridge Valley, as every new dwarf and gnome does. Sten Stoutarm is looking for someone who can assist him, as there is mostly just new apprentices around here. He spots that we might want something to keep our hands warm, since new characters wouldn't have gloves yet, and he's willing to give us a pair of new gloves for some wolf meat from the wolves around the area. We can head into the nearby building called Anvilmar and talk to Felix Windelbolt. While attempting to get rid of the trogs in Morogh, the city has become completely irradiated and the gnomes scattered across Morogh. In his haste to get away from the radiation, he lost his belongings. Trolls stole his chest, box, and bolts and brought them to their camps to the southwest. Felix would like help getting them back. We head south and gather the 8 tough wolf meat from the young wolves around the area. Back to the small camp, we can find a general goods vendor. We can give the meat to Sten, who is satisfied with our offering to trade for gloves. He has another favor he would like us to do. A stack of letters needs to be delivered, but he doesn't have the time to do it. They're all addressed to Talene Keen-Eye. He's down the road to the west by the frozen lake. Nearby, we can talk to Balir Frosthammer. He is hoping we are here to help, because after the last Trog attack, they could use the help. The Trogs seem to be popping up all over Morogh and have appeared in Cold Ridge to the southeast. They attacked and overran the camp to the west, so the dwarves need help to drive them back. We quickly go kill 6 Rockjaw Trogs and 6 burly Rockjaw Trogs, then head back to Balir. If the problems here are indicative of the rest of Morogh, he hopes the king and senate are taking steps to deal with the Trog threat. We can run west and find Talene Keen-Eye by the tent. Handing off the letters, he thanks us as he's been waiting for a while. However, one of the letters isn't for him. It's addressed to Grellin Whitebeard. His camp is just down the road to the southeast. There are a lot of boars in Cold Ridge, so much so that it almost takes the fun out of hunting them. Recently, there have been so many that it has made it dangerous for him to do his hunting. Talene wants us to thin their numbers a bit. At the end of the road, we can give Grellin his letter. It's been a while since Ironforge has contacted him. Grellin and his brother Sinir were sent to different parts of Morogh to investigate the trolls. With the Senate busy dealing with the Trogs, they have no desire to deal with another problem. The trolls aren't situated into Cold Ridge yet, so few people should be enough to oust them. If he would like to assist in getting rid of the trolls, he's been given authority to compensate us for our help. The quest from Nori is another timed one, so we will do it after the trolls. We head south towards a cave to get Felix's bucket of bolts while taking out troll whelps. Heading along the mountain range west, we can find the next troll hut, which has Felix's chest near it. Continuing west, we finish off 14 troll whelps and grab Felix's box from the last troll hut. From here, we can start clearing out the 12 boars, conveniently finishing nearby Talene. He's happy he can return to his more leisurely hunting and thanks us. Back to Grellin, he's upset that the trolls have come in the night and have stolen his journal. There was a bigger troll with odd markings that has taken the journal to the cave. Maybe we can get it back for him. We head into the back of the cave and find Gricknir the Cold. A quick beat down later, we take the journal back. I see we can read the journal and open it up. Grellin and his apprentice arrived and set up camp where they are now. His apprentice got into a nasty fight with a Trog and injured his arm. They discovered the trolls in Cold Ridge are the Frostmane. Their numbers are a bit troublesome, and they might have to call some mountaineers to clear out the cave. The Trogs are beginning to arrive in number as well. They also have no ale, which is important, I suppose. The Trog numbers continue to increase, but they are primitive and shouldn't be a large threat. A small show of force should be enough. We give Grellin his journal, and he's satisfied that the troll situation is now under control in Cold Ridge and not a cause for worry. He'll need someone to send a report to his brother Sinir. He was going to send the report with his apprentice, but he would prefer more reliable hands. If we wouldn't mind, we will need to take the tunnel to Koranos, so we should talk to Mountaineer Thalos first, as it's been completely infested with Trogs. Nori Prydrift was supposed to deliver some scalding morn brew to Durnan Furcutter inside Anvilmar, but had to give Grellin his first. We look fast, so he wants us to deliver the brew before it grows cold in 5 minutes, and don't forget to bring the mug back. We have more than enough time to get the brew to Durnan. He's happy to take a break to enjoy his morn brew. There's nothing like a piping hot morn brew to warm your soul on a cold day. We can't forget to bring Nori his cup back. While we're here, we can take a look around Anvilmar. Durnan is a cloth and leather armor merchant. Next to him is the mage trainer and the priest trainer. Up the stairs behind them is the warlock and demon trainers. Back in the main room, we can talk to Felix and give him his belongings. He's feeling concerned about the nasty creatures around this town, finding it as bad as Morogh was before the accident. Felix is grateful for us for finding his belongings before they've been tampered with by the trolls. Nearby the stairs is the rogue trainer. By the central fire is a weapon vendor. Following the room clockwise, we can find the warrior trainer, the hunting trainer, the paladin trainer, and an armor vendor. We can bring Nori back his mug. He's happy we brought it back, as you would be surprised how many couriers forget to bring the mug back. Mugs aren't easy to replace. We can head to the tunnel that leads to the rest of Dun Morogh now, in the northeast. Mountaineer Thalos is there to meet us, letting us know the tunnel is filled with trogs and not safe for travel. Unless we have pressing business, he wants us to stay in Anvilmar for now. We show him the letter, and Thalos says he can't exactly keep us from completing a task for Whitebeard. The trogs are hostile in the tunnel and attacking travelers, but we look tough enough to handle it. To find Sinir and Karanos, we need to just keep following the road once we exit the tunnel. Hans' spring sprocket has a package that needs to be delivered to the inn at Karanos. If we are going through the tunnels, perhaps we can deliver it for him, and take a breather at the inn after fighting our way through the tunnel. We should give the package to Tanakh Frosthammer when we arrive. Looking around the camp, we can find a bunch of derelict mining equipment. I wonder if the trog infestation is from the dwarves digging a little too deep into the earth, though a tunnel connecting Coldridge and Dun Morogh seems at least necessary. Running through the tunnel, we can see the remains of tents and dwarven pillars. Maybe they were going to dig more tunnels before the trogs invaded. Once out of the tunnel, we can follow the road north to Karanos. As we enter the settlement, we can see a cart and tent with a pet trainer, a trade goods vendor, and Sinir Whitebeard. We can read Grellin's report before handing it over. It's just a small report saying that the trolls can be handled by the mountaineers and mercenaries, using the money set aside by the Senate. This action was authorized by the sanction given to Grellin by King Magni Bronzebeard. I suppose he was much more important than we thought if he has sway with the king. We can give the report to Sinir, who has told Grellin to be sparing with the king's name, but no harm this time. It will ruffle some feathers with the Senate. He should send his report to Ironforge, but he's a bit behind. Sinir has found where the trolls are holed up, but there's just too many to go in. He wants us to go to the cave, explore inside, and take out some trolls. The cave is southwest of Brunal village to the west. Behind this little camp, we can find the warlock and demon trainer in the trees. Just outside the inn, we can talk to Ragnar Thunderbrew. The local trapper who used to bring his supplies was enlisted to the king's army. If we can help him out by bringing him some boar ribs and a rhapsody malt, he'll give us the recipe for beer-basted boar ribs and a free sample. We can head into the inn called Thunderbrew Distillery. On the upper landing, we find the paladin trainer and the mage trainer. Talking to Magus, we can get a mage quest to begin our true lessons and join a secret war the mages are waging. We just need to talk to Janae, Cannon, and Stormwind to know more about the invisible world. Moving to the main room, I really like how dwarf buildings go down into rooms instead of building up. It really makes it feel like the dwarves dig their buildings into place. We can give the crate to Tanakh Frosthammer, who was worried for Hans as word from Anvilmar has been scarce since the trogs took the pass. He thanks us for the crate and bids us to make ourselves comfortable after our tiring journey here. In this main room is the priest trainer, general supplies vendor, first aid trainer, warrior trainer, and the innkeeper. We can buy a rhapsody malt from the innkeeper for the boar ribs. In the room past the innkeeper, we can find the rogue trainer and the cooking trainer. Down the stairs from here, we find a barrel cellar, with Jarvan Thunderbrew guarding the kegs. Each side room here is the inn rooms, but they don't have anything in them. Outside the building across the street is Tharik Blackstone. Belden Steelgrill owns the local mechanic shop, and he's the best siege engine technician there is, but he isn't very forgiving to his tools. Another order of tools for him is ready, and the courier that takes it would be rewarded for the effort. Steelgrill's depot is northeast of Karanos. Inside this building, we can find a weapon vendor, a cloth and leather armor vendor, a blacksmith trainer, a mail armor vendor, and a blacksmithing supplies vendor. I forgot to record it, but on the hill left of this building is the hunter trainer. North of Karanos, we can find a small hut with a gnome head crab outside it. Inside the house, we find Razzle's Spry Sprocket. Upon analyzing the Gnomergon situation, not only were the trogs not eradicated, but most of the gnomes inside turned into leper gnomes. Razzle and Ozzy have a plan to reverse the leper effect, the Recombobulator. The machine is almost complete, but he needs some cogs and gears to finish it. We can find them on the leper gnomes outside Gnomergon. Ozzy Togglevolt tells us that all Nawarn talks about is cleansing Gnomergon of the trogs and cure the leper sickness. They're close to a cure or a powerful recipe for rum, but they need fallout from the trogs in Gnomergon to test it. He gives us a vial to fill and bring back. This is for the dungeon, so we'll do that a bit later when we level up. We head east to Steel Grill's depot and find the Mechanostriders. This is the gnome mount. I love the Mechanostriders, especially the unpainted one and the swift white one. If we ever get gnomes to Exalted, I would 100% come back for a Strider over an Elic the Drain I get. We can talk to Pilot Bellowfizz next to the siege engines. The Siege Brigade will be going on a mission and he needs to stock his engine Jetstream with supplies. If we are able, could we get him bear fur for bedding and boar meat for food? These can be found south of Kharanos, or really anywhere around the zone in case of the boars. We can talk to Pilot Stonegear next, who tells us driving a siege engine isn't for everyone. It takes an iron grip and nerves of steel. Would we like to test our mettle and prove we have what it takes to drive an engine? He's looking to make his engine, Troll Plow, more cozy. We can bring him Wendigo mains from the Grizzled Den, west of Kharanos, to test our mettle. A rare ore, Incendicite, was found in the wetlands north of Algaz Gate. It's an ore that is hard to use without blowing yourself up. He's confident if smelted the right way, it would make cannonball shells pack a punch. If we get the ore, he'll supply someone brave enough to experiment with it. To get the ore, we need someone with mining to grab it. Conveniently, I have mining and jewel crafting on this character, so no problem. We can talk to Belden Steelgrill to give him his tools. He's working on a few engines right now and won't have time to take on more work for a few days. We arrived just in time as he's broken his last ratchet a while ago and needs one to finish Stonegear's engine. We get some copper for the effort. We can talk to Lost Lore Rudge, who is selling engineering supplies. He tells us that Hegnar Rumbleshot sells guns off the road near the Anvamar Tunnel. Rifle and mortar teams practice near his shop and he always needs more ammo. The last case of ammo got lost along the way near the Grizzled Den when the courier got chased away by Bendigo. If we find the crate, we should bring it to Rumbleshot. In the larger house, we can find the engineering trainer and the mining trainer. We can finally start some quests, beginning with taking out the local population of bears and boars. We find the 6 boar ribs we need for the cooking recipe first. Then, pick up the 4 boar meat for the siege pilot. Lastly, we get the 2 bear fur south of Brunel village. As we head back to Kharanos, we find Rumbleshot's ammo crate and pick it up. We give the ribs and malt to Ragnar, who sings us a little ditty about the ribs. The malt is brewed, the boars are dead, and before it is all done, and anything said, we will have to fight for first dibs of these savory beer-basted boar ribs. Back to Pilot Bellowfizz, we can give him the boar meat and bear fur. He's thoroughly impressed with our hunting prowess. Rage-Old Barley Brew experiments with its brews. Some are good, and some are bad, and some will leave you flat on your back. He lives in Brunel village, and Bellowfizz wants some of his Evershine. Some to keep him warm, but also because it can be thrown in the steam engine furnace for a boost of speed. I'm not sure you should be drinking that. We head to the Grizzled Den to collect Wendigo mains. Inside the cave, we find a rare called Edan the Howler, who just drops a white dagger. After 8 mains are collected, we walk south to give Rumbleshot his ammo. He's happy to see us as he's almost out. Late is better than never, and he has customers already eager to buy. Nearby, you can find a mortar team practicing. This is a reference to a unit in Warcraft during the human campaign. They even say a few of their unit's lines while shooting.
Burning, looting, bombing, shooting. Take this, you bastard! It's you and me, pal.
We've got the synergy.
Little Easter eggs like this is why classic Azeroth is a delight to explore. We can head to Brunel village now. They have an ale and wine vendor, very on brand for dwarves. You can also find a fishing supplies vendor down by the frozen lake. This one sells a better fishing rod. In one of the tents, you find a leather armor merchant. Rage-Old Barley Brew agrees to give us a barrel of Evershine, but asks for a favor first. The wild animals wander close to the village sometimes. They aren't afraid of the local wildlife, but taking care of them takes away from crafting and brewing. We need to take out some pests for a barrel of Evershine. Rage-Old is on a quest to make the perfect stout. He's confident he has the skills, but just needs the right recipe. The Frostbane trolls grow shimmerweed high in the hills to the east. They use this for rituals and have a unique taste. He would like some to experiment with. Marlith Barley Brew admits that the Thunder Brews make good drinks, but they need to learn that they don't make the only good brew. She wants us to take a barrel of Barley Brew Scalder and sneak it into the basement of the distillery in Kharanos. We need to take the barrel of Thunder Ale that's there. Then we'll see how their patrons like her brew over theirs. The guard will need to be distracted to pull it off. We head towards the vent spewing green smoke and start taking down leper gnomes for the gears and cogs. While collecting those, we also finish killing 8 Elder Crag boars, 6 Ice Claw bears, and 8 snow leopards. While finishing the gnome grind, we find a rare called Gwibblewhilt. he drops a foreman's vest, which I think is unique to this rare mob. We get the last of the cogs and gears here as well. Back to Rajold, he thanks us, as it will be nice to work their crafts without hearing so many growls and snorts outside the village. He gives us a cask of Evershine for our efforts. We head west to the troll camp, take out the 5 Frostmane headhunters, and fully explore the cave. While exploring the cave, we find the rare Greatfather Acticus. He drops the Frostmane Scepter, which is also a unique drop only for this rare. We climb up the nearby mountain face to find Tundra McGran. He had a month's worth of provisions locked away for the cold season. While he was away, the Wendigo Old Icebeard made off with his meat locker. It won't be able to get through the lockbox, but Tundra will starve if we don't get it back. We can employ a bit of stealth to get it back. Old Icebeard is a level 11 elite Wendigo. However, you don't have to kill him to get the meat locker. He will leave his cave and walk north for a time, giving us plenty of time to get the locker and run away before he runs back. Back up to Tundra, we give him the locker. Thanks to our bravery, he won't find himself starving when the cold flurries roll in. We can head north from here and up another mountainside to find the troll camp with the shimmerweed. We can pick up 6 baskets, or get them from the trolls. Heading back to Karanos, we can give the cogs and gears to Razzle Spry Sprocket. These are a perfect fit for Ozzy's schematics for the recombobulation device. Once he does some incomprehensible engineering jargon, the gnomish race will be good as new. He starts the machine, pointed directly at a captured leper gnome, and we watch it save the gnomish race. Well, we watch it turn the leper gnome into a chicken, at any rate. It escapes and runs off into the wilds. Back to the drawing board for this invention, I suppose. We can give Bellaphys his Evershine. He's already going to take a sample to try. I don't think I'd want to drink something that can double his tank fuel. We can give the Wendigo mains to Pilot Stonegear. They will work great for his tank comfort. He wagers he will see great things from us. We let Sinir know about the Frostmane Troll Cave. He'll quickly finish up his report with our information, and, if we don't mind, would it be up to doing one more favor. We could take his report to Senator Baron Redstone. He's a sour type, so don't let his attitude get to us. Baron is in the throne room with King Magni and Ironforge. He would also like it if we didn't mention how we assisted him. Can't let them think Sinir isn't doing hard work out here. We can read Sinir's report. He reports that the trolls are staying localized to their cave and are more territorial than an active aggressor. The threat of the trolls should be put in a lower priority than the Trogs and Dark Iron Dwarves. He also put a copy of Grellin's report. In the distillery, my friend had already distracted the guard, so I quickly head down to switch the barrels. We drop the barley brew barrel next to the other thunder ale and take the barrel that's soon to be tapped. Just in time too, as Jarvan returns from his ale break. I forgot to hit record when we went back to Brunel Village, so I'll have to edit in the quest dialogue for Return to Marleth and the Perfect Stout. When we talk to Marleth, they thank us for switching the brew and to not forget the barley brews if we ever are looking for a stout with a kick. We give the Shiverwee to Rajold and he wants to add it to his next batch of brew. He has one recipe in particular he would like to try it with. This starts Shimmer Stout, where Rajold would like us to take a barrel of Shimmer Stout to his brother Wellart, who is stationed at the Southern Guard Tower on the border to Loch Modan. He's not a brewer like the rest of the barley brews, but he loves his drinks. We can now head into Ironforge and start the tour. I just love the background music for Ironforge. It's up there with Stormwind and Orgrimmar for nostalgia, so I'll play a bit of it while we explore. We can find a bread vendor just outside the auction house nearby the main gate. The auction house has 3 vendors and has stuff littered all over the room. It's not marked with a readable sign, but instead with a hammer underneath a mountain logo. Ironforge is finally another city with fun signposts. Left of the bank is the Ironforge Armory. Inside is the heavy and light armor merchant on the first floor and a heavy armor merchant on the second floor. The bank doesn't have a sign, but instead marked with a set of scales. There's 3 bank tellers inside, and all the vaults look like proper bank vaults for once. Leave it to the dwarves to have some decent vault security. To the right of the bank is Steel Fury's Weapon Emporium. In the lower floor, we can find 2 weapon vendors. Just to the right of the Emporium, you can find a small tunnel that leads to the center of the city. A shortcut instead of needing to find one of the larger hallways. Continuing to the east, we find Fizzle Spanner's General Goods. On the lower floor, we find a general goods vendor, a trade goods vendor, and a bag vendor. Following along the hallways, we spot Thief Catcher Fairmountain. He looks like a dwarf on a mission. I believe he patrols all over the area, including the side hallways and the center area. To the east of the main gate, on the south side of this hallway, we can go into an unmarked building and find the Royal Stonecutters Union. On the lower floor, you can find statues in marble that look very similar to the ones at the Stormwind main gate. I wonder if they were also made by the Royal Stonecutter Union. Next door is the Ironforge Visitor Center. Inside is the Guildmaster and the Tabard Vendor. I purchased the guild charter while here, and to spare from my wallet, because getting 8 more signatures is not going to be cheap. We can head into the military ward now and go around the area counterclockwise. The first store is Craghelm's Plate and Chain. Inside on the first floor is a light armor and mail armor vendor. A heavy armor vendor is on the second floor. The next marked building is Timberline Arms. On the upper floor is 2 weapon masters with a mace and a staff vendor. The lower floor has a weapon vendor who sells fist weapons, the first I've seen I think, and an axe vendor and blade vendor. The middle of this ward just seems to be a magma pit. The large middle building here is the Hall of Arms. To the right of the main door is 2 warrior trainers. Up on the balcony is all of the battle masters with a warrior trainer and a hunter trainer. They are surrounding a map of Dun Morogh just outside Ironforge with little tank and airplane models. To the left is 2 hunter trainers, the pet trainer, and a stable master. In the back of this room is a bunch of tanks with an NPC labeled the Ironforge Siege Brigade. The next marked building is Baruch's Corner, which is a tavern with a bartender on the first floor and a barmaid on the second. Next is Gold Fury's Hunting Supplies, with a gun vendor on the first floor and a bow vendor on the second. Walking around this area is a meat vendor. We can now head into Tinkertown, where the gnomes are currently living with Gnomergon unavailable. In the southwest corner is Berry Fizz's Potions and Mixed Drinks. This is where the alchemy trainer and alchemy supplies vendor is. In the center, we can talk to Tinkmaster Oversparg, who is the chief architect for gnomish engineering. He is to ensure the power of invention continues to the fullest. If we happen to know a good schematic for radiation elimination, the gnomes are in the market for one right now. Overspark has a creation, TechBot, that is roaming Gnomergon in a frenzy after its brain chips or something got damaged during the fall of Gnomergon. He's hoping it can be salvaged. If he can retrieve TechBot's memory core, he can try to find the cause of the malfunction. On top of some kind of spin gear platform, we can find High Tinker Megatorque, King of the Gnomes. We aren't powerful enough for him to talk to us yet. We can talk to Clockmort Spannerspan, who tells us that the mechanical component called the Essential Artificial was of great use to the Tinkerers of Gnomergon. During the fall, no one remembered to take any. He needs a large supply for work soon. If we could, we can go into Gnomergon and find some essential artificials in crates in the lower floors. In the northwest corner is Spring Spindle's Gadgets. This has the engineering trainer and engineering supplies vendor. This vendor has some limited sale patterns. In the northeast corner is the Cloth Reputation vendor. The exit to the east is the Deep Run tram. We will cover this section when we travel to Stormwind. In the southeast corner is Things That Go Boom, which has a fireworks vendor. We can talk to Norn, who tells us he lost contact with Bingles, who is on a recon mission over Gnomergon. He's convinced that Bingles has blown himself up. Bingles was last seen flying over Loch Modan, so perhaps we can go look for him. In Stormwind, we can find the commander for the underground assault crew, Shoni the Shylent. She needs assistance with her gyrodramatic excavationators. She's in the Dwarven Quarter. We can head north into the Hall of the Explorers. There wasn't anything in the houses along the southwest wall, so we can head into the library, which doubles as a museum. Each of these displays has a little plaque you can read to explain them. The display of broken pottery is called Uldaman Reliefs. These were found in Uldaman and show a link between the Earthen and the dwarves, which lends more evidence to the theory that the Titans created dwarves. At this point in the Azeroth timeline, the dwarves still do not have any irrefutable proof that they were created by the Titans. The broken Horde catapult is from the Second War, which is the game Warcraft 2, when the orcs almost took Ironforge. The vases and chest is Uldaman relics. While they don't have any ruins or hieroglyphs, the craftsmanship tells of the day-to-day accessories of ancient dwarves. The Highborn astrolabe was recovered from Suramar, the undersea ruins portion. At this point, Suramar is still in the sea before the Broken Isles were raised. This was crafted nearly 12,000 years ago and provides insights into the ancient elves' level of scientific understanding. There are 2 NPCs in the front foyer, one from the Explorers League and the other from Reclaimers Incorporated. Hanging from the ceiling is an intact pterodon skeleton from Ungoro Crater. Based on the structure, this genus has not been encountered before and could be many years old preserved in the soil. The ram skeleton is from Toothnasher and it's a scale replica. This legendary ram was subject of many tales in dwarven folklore. Ecologists have been unable to account for the large size or stamina of the ram. The Geru strider is the largest plain strider bird, and very few have encountered it. There is a display of eggs that look uncannily like dragon eggs. However, they are sorrel eggs found in Ungoro Crater that house devilsaur embryos. The genetic material has been invaluable to find a serum for the devilsaur's venom. With the similarities in egg structure, I wonder if dragons split from devilsaur somewhere in their evolution. The giant foot is a rock talon. This was found off the coast of Stranglethorn. Ecologists believe it's from an ancient sun rock. These creatures feature prominently in Tauren folklore, and this talon suggests that the beasts used to exist. The next pile of fossilized eggs was found in Tenaris. These eggs remain a mystery to ecologists. The eggs could be 1,000 years old, and the structure is insectoid, but the origins cannot be discerned. Azeroth is currently in the timeline before the Silithid were prominent and had 2 raids. The last display has some skeletons alongside the large skull, which is from Tyrannistraz. This dragon was the elder consort of Queen Alexstrasza and was killed during the Second War nearby Grim Batol. Small rant time. How in the hell do the dwarves have this skull? The only way this skull is still here is because Alexstrasza must not know the dwarves took it. Not only was her consort killed during the Second War after being captured by the Horde, but there should be no way she just left her consort's body to rot long enough for dwarves to just take his head. How is his body not taken to lay to rest immediately in the Ruby Dragon Shrine? Or at the very least, laid to rest somewhere that is not Grim Batol? The dwarves are debating to give it back to Alexstrasza, but how does that not immediately end in the incineration of Ironforge and renewing fire? At this point in time, Alexstrasza isn't exactly on friendly terms with us after the whole torture of her children by the Horde thing. Absolutely wild that this skull is here and Ironforge still stands. We can head to the central room now that looks like a proper library. There is a lot of books on the tables that you can read, but I'll just point out one that is relevant right now. The Battle of Grim Batol tells of how when the Horde was scattered in the Second War, Grom Hellscream evaded capture, but the Bleeding Hollow clan was not so lucky. A large force of orcs still roamed free in Cosmodan. The Dragon Maw clan, led by Necros, used the Demon Soul to control Alexstrasza and her flight. Enslaving her children to use as mounts, Necros built a secret army in the abandoned Wildhammer stronghold of Grim Batol. A small group of resistance fighters, led by Ronin, managed to destroy the Demon Soul and free the Red Dragonflight from Necros' control before he could unleash his forces on the Alliance. Alexstrasza tore Grim Batol apart and incinerated the bulk of the Dragonmaw clan. This defeat was the end of the Horde and the Second War. This book doesn't mention Tyrannistraz, so I can only assume he died during that last incineration. Which leaves even more credit to Alexstrasza not just leaving his body behind if they won the fight. There are a ton more books here, but reading them all could fill an entire video, so I'll leave them all to you to discover for yourselves. Unless enough of you want a 20-minute story time segment. We can continue north into the Forlorn Cavern. This first building has a demon trainer in it. South of that building is a shady dealer selling things for poison. Inside this building is 2 rogue trainers on the top floor and 1 rogue trainer on the bottom floor. In the next building going west is Garrig's occult shop with 2 warlock trainers on the first floor. We can pick up that Black Fathom quest now. Garrig collects lore, old and powerful lore, knowledge that can open doorways and those that can awaken those who sleep. There are rumors of a lore piece called the Lorgalis manuscript at the bottom of Black Phantom Depths. This location is ancient ruins from the Night Elves, who held great knowledge before the city fell. If we bring him the manuscript, he will not forget our help, even after the end days. So, at this point, I can already tell Garrig is part of the Twilight Hammer, or at least an Old Gods cult. We really shouldn't be helping him, but since my knowledge is in hindsight, our intrepid adventurer here doesn't know any better. There's also a warlock trainer on the second floor of this building. Next up is the Traveling Fisherman. On the first floor is the fishing supplies vendor, and on the second floor is the fishing trainer. The water pool here is where you can try to fish Ol Ironjaw for an achievement starting in the Wrath of the Lich King. The last building here is Stoneblades. It has a blade weapon vendor, which makes sense. Would hardly expect a mace vendor in a place called Stoneblades. Continuing west, we enter the Mystic Ward. The first building is Mavra's Mystical Apparel. On the first floor is a robe vendor, and on the second is a cloth armor vendor. The next couple buildings just have named NPCs inside, no vendors. A fruit vendor patrols around this ward. A water pool with 3 stones is in the center of this area, maybe to contrast with the magma pit on the other side of the city? My friend decided to test if you can fish here, and apparently you can! The main building here is the Hall of Mysteries. To the right is the Mage Trainers. It's been a while since I've seen a Mage Trainer without having to go all the way back to the Exodar, so let's do a little training. I pick up Counterspell, which prevents a spell cast in that school of magic for 8 seconds. This is handy to stop a really powerful spell from going off, but it generates a lot of threat. I pick up the next rank of Arcane Explosion, since it can be handy when I can't stand and cast Blizzard. I get the next rank of Fire Blast, which will be useful for quick instant damage in a pinch. The next rank of Flame Strike is just nice extra damage if I cast it before Blizzard. The Portal Trainer teaches me how to teleport to Ironforge, which will be very useful for getting around. I need to pick up Teleport to Exodar later as well. At the back of the room is Paladin Trainers. There is a staircase here that I didn't notice at the time. I went back later and took a screenshot of the second floor. It's just more NPCs you can't talk to and a mage, priest, and paladin trainer. Left of the main door is priest trainers. The next building going west is the fighting wizard. This is a weapon merchant on the top floor, and a wand merchant on the bottom floor. The last building on the east side is Longberry's Reagents. It has a reagent vendor on the first floor. I'll have to buy some ruins of teleportation later. Down this last outer hallway, there is only 2 more buildings of note. Left of the main gate is Barim's Reagent. This also just has a reagent vendor on the first floor. The building next to it is the Stonefire Tavern. This is where you can set your Hearthstone. It also has a barmaid on the first floor. After checking the rest of the hallway, I head back into the Mystic Ward and take the large hallway southeast to enter the Great Forge. Going clockwise from this entrance, we can find the cloth vendor for Ironforge reputation. The building going upstairs is Fine Spindle's Leather Goods. You can find the leatherworking trainer, the leatherworking supplies vendor, and the skinning trainer here. The next building is Stonebrow's Clothier. On the first floor is the tailoring trainer and tailoring supplies vendor. On the second floor is the specialty tailoring supplies, and he sells a bunch of limited sale patterns, including a tuxedo. Next is Burbick's Supplies. He is a trade supplies vendor that sells some limited sale jewel crafting recipes. I picked them up since I don't have them in my bank yet. Moving on, we could head into Deep Mountain Mining Guild. Inside is the mining supplies vendor and the mining trainer. I finally remember to learn how to smelt bronze. In the next building, you can find the shaman trainer added in Burning Crusade. Next is the bronze kettle, which has the cooking trainer on the top floor and the cooking supplies vendor on the bottom floor. Then it's Thistlefuzz Arcanery, which has enchanting supplies on the first floor and the enchanting trainer on the second floor. We pass the Flight Master on the right, finding a pie vendor patrolling this area who only sells cherry pie. The last building on the east side is the Ironforge Physician, who has the herbalism trainer and herbalism supplies vendor on the first floor and the first aid trainer on the second floor. A bit more south, you can see the exit of the shortcut tunnel next to the bank. Through the middle of the area, you can find the Great Anvil, which can be used for both blacksmithing and smelting. A notable event for this anvil is that Ashbringer was forged upon it by King Magni Bronzebeard himself. Next to it is the weaponsmith and armorsmith trainers for blacksmithing. Nearby is the blacksmithing supplies vendor and the blacksmithing trainer. The pool of lava spilling down can also be used to smelt ore. As we exit the hallway, I spot Brombar Higgleby, who has the title of the Keymaster. Based on his clothing, I wonder if he's an Easter egg for Ghostbusters. Just south of the entrance we took to get in here is the exit to a second shortcut on the other side of the bank. We can now go into the throne room in between these 2 shortcuts. We can spot the shut door to Old Ironforge before it was opened and Magni turned to diamond. We can visit Magni before his literal glow up. I forgot he had orange hair before it changed to brown after his time as Speaker of Azeroth. Finally, we can give Senator Baron Redstone the report we've been carrying around. He doesn't seem too happy that Magni's name has been invoked for the whole troll business. Looks like Sinir was right, and the report did send the Senate into a bit of a tizzy. Though Byrne doesn't sound like a very pleasant guy, so I don't feel guilty for ruining his day. We can head back out into Dun Morogh now and finish up the last remaining quests. While heading east, we come across the house of Father Gavin, who has an interesting painting on his bedroom wall. This guy isn't for anything at all either, just a priest from the Argent Dawn retiring in Dun Morogh. Interesting choice. Up at Amberstill Ranch, we can talk to Yarlin Amberstill, who will sell us a rabbit minion. This is where the dwarf ram mounts are. We can talk to Rudra Amberstill standing outside the hill house. After cries in the night, the herd is missing 2 rams. A beast known as Vagash has been preying on them. With most of the king's army off fighting with the Alliance, there is no one to deal with Vagash. She hopes we are brave enough to seek out Vagash and slay him. We can bring back a fang as proof and reward. Vagash lurks above the ranch in the hillside. There's a weapon vendor here as well. Running back west and up into the hill, we can find the cave Vagash is in, slay him, and take his fang. We give the fang to Rudra, who says Veron will be happy when he hears the news. She imagines with our strength we can be fighting alongside King Magni on the Alliance front one day. South from the ranch is Golbalar Quarry. The cooking trainer here tells us that Chandra and Silverwind Refuge in Ashenvale can teach us expert cooking. Good to know. There's also a food and drink vendor near this tent. There's a couple NPCs from the Explorers League and the Mining League, as well as the mining trainer. In another tent is a weapon vendor. We can talk to Foreman Stonebrow, who seems a bit frustrated with the trogs infesting his quarry. They seem to be destroying the place, including powder kegs. He really wants to go down there and kill them all. All this stress and anger can't be good for his health. Maybe we can help him out by killing some trogs for him. We can talk to Senator Mayor Stonehollow, who is part of the Senate and the Explorers League. As such, he's taken it upon himself to take care of the trog infestation in Dunmorrow. The trogs have made a mess of the quarry for no discernible reason. When they dug deep into the earth, the trogs came pouring out. There isn't much more to do than exterminate them all and rebuild the quarry equipment. We take out the 6 Rockjaw Skull Thumpers on the surface before heading into the northeast cave to deal with the 10 Rockjaw Bone Snappers. Back to Mayor, he tells us it's a start and hopefully they can move some mountaineers in to secure the area. Then, they can restore the quarry and get the miners back to work. Stonebrow feels a little bit better now that we've killed some trogs for him, but he won't be happy until they're all dead. Well, good luck with that since they respawn every 2 minutes. Heading southeast to hand in a quest, we pass by a frozen lake with some water left. I suppose they needed somewhere for beginner fishers to start. We head down the southeast tunnel and find the South Gate outpost. We can give Mountaineer Barley Brew the barrel of Shimmer Stout. He hopes we are here for something exciting as he hasn't had a good fight in days and his ale is almost out. He takes a sip of the Shimmer Stout and seems to like it, claiming he feels like he could see in the dark after drinking it. Barley Brew wants a fellow Mountaineer to try it. His name is Cadrell, and he's usually patrolling the road through Theslamar and Loch Modan. We should give him the cask of Shimmer Stout and see what he thinks. Only one more quest to go at the North Gate outpost. We head up there and talk to Pilot Hammerfoot. His friend Maury Hildelf has gotten lost in the hills. They were looking for rare ore to use to make high-grade blast powder, and Maury got his siege engine stuck up a steep hill. Maury asked Hammerfoot to stay here and guard the engines while he continued the search on foot. It's been days since Maury left, and he's heard growls in the woods at night. He wants us to find Maury. Well, he wouldn't have had to go far. Maury is just over this hill. Oh, that doesn't look good. We find a dwarven corpse that has been mauled, frozen, and picked clean. In one hand is a book containing notes from Maury Hildelf. The Brigadier vest is still in good condition around the remains. I suppose we'll just take this dead guy's vest as a reward? Can't be any worse than Night Elf tier harvesting. Maury wrote that he's been attacked by Mangeclaw, a huge ice claw bear. He managed to drive it off, but not before getting savagely mauled. Judging by the state of the body, Mangeclaw must have returned and finished the kill. Maury wrote his last wish, revenge on Mangeclaw. We head slightly to the left, kill Mangeclaw, take his mangy claw, and head back to Hammerfoot. He asks if we have news, and we give him the claw and journal. This is grim news, as Maury was a dear friend, and he wished to have been there to help take down Mangeclaw. He thanks us for getting revenge for Maury, and will be remembered for our deed by the Ironforge Siege Brigade. Best not to show him the vest in my bags then, if I want to keep that goodwill. We decide to take a trip to Theslamar to hand off the Shimmer Stout. We find Mountaineer Cadrell and hand him the cask. He gives it a taste and seems to feel the kick of it too, saying it lightens the limbs as if he could fly. We can see what else he has for us next episode in Loch Modan. I hope to see all of you there. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more episodes like this one. Dunmorrow was a bit shorter than the other areas I've covered, and I'll admit it's a bit boring. Besides the little Easter eggs for Warcraft 3, the museum in Ironforge, and Morogh, which were still too low level to do, it's been all very generic dwarf tropes. I really hope Loch Modan will have a bit more to sink our teeth into than just various quests about hunting beasts and making alcohol. I have successfully made both guilds now for the 100 subscriber reward, so starting next episode, you can see the guild tabard. The Horde Guild is called Azeroth Historians, and the Alliance Guild is called Historians of Azeroth. I'll see you all next time.